What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Politics with Steve. All right, so today we gonna spend a lot of time talking about the United States versus Iran. It went down over the weekend, so we have to talk about that. But before we get into anything, I want to remind everybody to take a second to subscribe to my YouTube account, leave a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff, share it. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right, so to set the stage on how we got here, everybody remembers President Obama negotiated a nuclear deal with Iran. It was a good nuclear deal. It limited the amount of uranium Iran can enrich. It put strict requirements for inspections and things like that in place to make sure that Iran was compliant in this deal. And again, Trump got into office, ripped the deal up. Once that deal was removed, Iran continued to enrich uranium. So we got to remember how we got here. None of this would have ever had to happen if that deal was still in place. All right, so over the weekend, we learned that the United States launched strikes against Iran, dubbed Operation Midnight Hammer. This operation used B-2 bombers to drop the 30,000-pound ordnance penetrator, also known as bunker buster bombs, on Iran's nuclear facilities. So one of the reasons I was so sure that the United States was going to enter this war is because Israel has stated that their aims is to destroy all of Iran's nuclear facilities. The only way to destroy what is the Fordo nuclear facility that Iran has is for the United States to drop these 30,000-pound ordnance penetrator bombs. The reason why is because the Fordo nuclear facility is in the base of a mountain. So if you think about dropping a bomb on top of a mountain, it's just going to blow up the top of the mountain and the surface. This bomb specifically is designed to drop, hit its target, penetrate about 200 feet into the ground or into the surface, and then explode. Now, it said that this facility is about 300 feet in the ground. So I believe the plan was to drop multiple bombs, one on top of another, to carve a deeper tunnel, allowing later bombs to go even further before they detonate. Now, this operation was incredibly impressive. We don't know how successful it was, but it was incredibly impressive. Considering the level of secrecy involved, I mean, there's so many service members that participated, but I see this operation, it's kind of like watching football, right? If you watching football and you see a coach take a really big risk and they go for it on fourth down in a situation where they didn't absolutely have to, or a 2-point conversion or something like that. On Monday, everybody becomes a quarterback, right? Debating whether or not the risk was worth it. Well, that's what's going on here, and with everybody, including me, all right? Because I think it's critical to evaluate whether or not the strikes actually work. Because if the strikes didn't work, then all we did was give them intel on these new weapons. Because this was the first time these bunker busters were ever actually used in combat. So now there's intel on the bunker busters. In addition to that, it could lead to an all-out war. So it's just one of those things where it's like, was the target destroyed? What do we know about it? And if the target wasn't destroyed, then we might have risked all of this for nothing, right? There could have been a deal in place, or there could have been. So my opinion on all of this, Iran's leadership is basically a state sponsor of terror and evil. It needs to go. Inside their own country, they only have about 20% public support. I mean, they fund terrorist organizations all around the world, including like the Houthi rebels in Yemen who were blocking shipping some time ago. You got Hezbollah and Lebanon, and they also are arming Russia in their war against Ukraine. So again, Iran's leadership is just bad people. I absolutely support the idea that Iran should not possess nuclear weapons. That said, I also think keeping a nuclear deal in place would have been the best approach to doing that. But I'm okay with the U.S. military taking a very targeted strikes against a hostile nation's nuclear facilities. Again, Iran shouldn't have nuclear weapons. But looking forward, we've already had Israel coming behind us and striking the Fordo facility again. In addition to that, we just found out that Iran has attacked a U.S. base in Qatar. So at the point of recording this, that's breaking news. There's gonna be, another U.S. retaliation. So here we are. We are on the precipice of a full-fledged war, and I think that it's important to stay vigilant. Iran just isn't a conventional military threat. Like, they operate through proxy forces and terrorist networks, right? A war with another country should be your country's military versus their country's military, right? But that's not how Iran fights wars. They fight wars by terrorizing civilian population. That's one of the methods they use, right? They've already warned Trump that they've got a bunch of sleeper cells in the United States waiting to act. A sleeper cell is someone who blends in with society. They probably work at a grocery store or just any other normal job, and you would think that they're a normal person. But when they are called on by their government to act, they are there to commit any sort of terrorist acts or any sort of espionage from the inside. So they've already threatened to enact these sleeper cells, and that's just a dangerous situation.